take a moment to wish you all a happy new year. And I know that that always begins with what are we going to do in the new year? What are our goals? And one of the hardest things in the world is to stick by those goals and make them happen. And then we feel like, ugh, crud when we didn't make them happen, because you know what happens between the first of the year and the end of the year? Life happens. So I am going to take a few moments here to sit down and get real with y'all, because this is the time when we shouldn't necessarily be setting up huge goals for ourselves, but instead be taking inventory about where we're at in our lives and ask ourselves, what is it that we most desire to become? And what I mean by that is not necessarily getting that promotion, making more money, seeing some part of the world you've never seen before. All of that is cool. All that is awesome. But when you explore the world, when you achieve something, when you create something, when you go after something, those are actually expressions of something deeper. The thing that's deeper is the real you. And what I mean by that is, you're not where you go, you're not what you create, you're not what you achieve, you're not what you have in the bank account or don't have in the bank account. You are this incredible soul that signed up to be here in this educational system that we call life, that is rigged, it is rigged for checks and balances, so that you get a little further, something pushes you back. You get a little further, something pushes you back. And that's how you flex your muscle and you get stronger. And we always talk about our brains, what our brains can conceive of, our hearts, what our hearts yearn for, our gut, what it feels down deep. And we rarely talk about the difference between the identity that is the soul moving around here and the deeper, bigger, broader soul that is what will be before and what we are now and what will be after we're gone. In Christianity, most of us we all have this little dent over our lip. You know what I'm talking about, this thing. And they say that one of the archangels says, shh, so that you forget everything that happens before. And he plucks a soul from the guff, G-U-F. And in theology, the guff is where everything comes from. In Greek mythology, it's Mnemosyne or Mnemosyne. If you look into Hindu stories, you end up seeing in Hindu stories the whole idea of the Akashic record. But the idea is this cumulative memory. And just like in the Tolteca tradition, you have Quetzalcoatl, you have the Quetzalcoatl, the feathered butterfly. Everyone talks about the feathered butterfly. The feathered butterfly is the memory. And it's not remembering in your brain, it's remembering in the deepest part of you who you are, what brought you into being, what challenges you to become the most brilliant expression of the uniqueness that is you. Now, in our lives, we get dragged down by expectations. Are you making enough money? Are you fulfilling whatever you are supposed to be as wife, as husband, as father, as mother, as daughter, as son, as sister, as brother? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing to be a lawyer, to be a politician, to be the best dishwasher you can be, whatever it is, to be the janitor, whatever it is, we get mired in going, this is my identity. What you do is not your identity. What you do is an expression of your identity. What you achieve is an expression of that. So when we start getting down deep, we start realizing something that my father always told me. I was just sharing this with my friend Chelsea a few days ago in Austin. He always told me that the secret to happiness is not to be happy about where you are, but to be happy about where you're going. Because life will change. You'll have money one day, you can lose it all the next day. You'll have someone in your life one day, and they dump you the next day, or they die, or, things happen, and that is the nature of this world. But if you define happiness by holding on to this, then guess what? You're really vulnerable to losing it. But if you define happiness about being happy about the direction of your life, and making sure the direction of your life is going in that direction in which your soul is most called to, then you actually find a kind of happiness that can resonate regardless of all the heartache and pain. And I'm not saying this lightly. This past year, my mom passed away. One of my best spirit family friends, Anthony, passed away. My Uncle Jerry just passed away. And one of my biggest advocates that encouraged me to get out there and make a difference in this world, Don Rain, passed away. That's 4 people who had an impact on my life, passed away. And it hurt. It still hurts. There are times when I catch myself looking wistfully out the window, I have tears going down my eyes, and then you get on, you move somewhere on with your life, and incredible synchronicities keep happening in such a way that I feel like I now have friends, a lot of friends, on the other side who are batting from me going, let's see if she catches this ball. Let's see if she can hit this ball. See if she gets that one. And I wish I could express to people that I've also lost, because I know a lot of you. Kim Gatlin, this goes out to you, goes out to my cousin Jenny, who's very close to her grandfather, Michael Jerry, all of you that have lost someone this year. It is so hard, and sometimes you go out there and the birds are singing and it looks like you couldn't have a more beautiful day because it's all sunny and bright, and you're like, yay, oh God, I'm so gorgeous, I want to call them up, and then you realize as you call on the phone, they're not there. And that's when it really hurts. But on the other side of that is there is an excitement in life, because every one of those people that touched you deep, they planted a seed in you. And one of my spiritual teachers, Ricardo Spontes, I always give it to Coatley, he's one of the spiritual leaders of the Toltec community in Teotihuacan. No, this has nothing to do with Don Miguel Ruiz or the Four Agreements or any new agey thing. This has to deal with the actual real community of Native Americans that lives in Teotihuacan and have forever. Anyway, but one of the things that he's taught me is you need to be a seed planter, because a seed planter plants a seed and does not necessarily force that seed to grow. They don't say, now you have the knowledge, move on. Instead, they allow each person they give a seed to hold on to it, and when they are ready, if they are even ever ready, they get to decide when that seed will germinate and how it will bloom. Some people will have something amazing. We just had a banana tree that we planted over a year ago, and it's growing. But the miracle of that is that we could only plant the little tree, and that was like this big, and we could water it, we can do all the things that go with nature, but we can't control how fast it grows, when it's going to grow, and we certainly couldn't make it anything other than the banana. So in life, when we're moving forward, we want so many times to force things to be right, but sometimes things just aren't going to be right. Sometimes they're really heartbreaking. This past year, I was really honored to be on the Forbes New York on their cover for their online magazine. And the first thing I wanted to do was call my mom up. And she had just died like a couple of days before that happened. And it was really heartbreaking, because she's who I would share it with, because most of the time she's the one that got off most on that kind of thing, more than I did, more than anyone did. And it was heartbreaking. And there are going to be those moments when we look and God, I wish they could see this. I wish they could experience this. But one of the most incredible things in this world as we move through it is all the people in our lives that have given us wisdom and insight and knowledge and shared their experiences with us add to who and what we are in such a profound way. And quite often we don't even realize how they're going to affect us or how they've helped shape our minds until years, maybe decades later. So, the reason I'm sharing all this with you is because as we embrace on a new year, we're in a unique moment in time, because it's not only a new year in terms of, wow, we're coming to 2024. It is actually a time in so many countries where leadership is changing, where the vote and how we vote is not just going to determine who's going to hold a position, but it's probably going to determine, for example, in the United States, what kind of democracy we're going to be proceeding forward. Whether you're on the right or left of that, you will probably agree with me that we are determining how our nation is going to be shaped. Similarly, when we look around the world, we're looking at how human rights are being changed here and there. We see really scary despots like Viktor Orban and what he did successfully in Hungary and rolling back women's rights to a level of 1965. We see in the United States situations in which you have a woman who's actually she's being sued by the state for somehow what I think they're calling it, basically abusing a dead body, and the dead body was actually her baby that she miscarried, that she had actually wanted to have, and I mean, it's warped. It's very, very warped. And so when we're just the everyday people looking at this slew of craziness, it's natural for us to be, oh my God, what kind of world are we getting into? And it can be overwhelming and heartbreaking. And what I wanted to share with all of you is that feel it, know it, whether it's an outside heartbreaking situation, like we see the Ukraine, or we see the Palestinians struggling, or we see the Israelis mourning, or we worry about people that are not even talked about in the news, like in Sudan. There's so many things, and you just walk down the street and you see someone begging, and you go, why in the richest country in the world does that even exist? But here's the thing. You have it within yourself to make a difference. And yes, that's getting out and voting. That is, as I was sharing with a friend of mine, Tad Cole, he said, what can I do? I'm not in your position. How can I make a difference? I feel so helpless. And I told him, right now, you are a straight white male in the United States of America. And I can tell you, when I was protesting Viktor Orban and I had a straight white female blonde friend, Isabel Razigal, sitting next to me, and she stood up against the people that were saying they wanted to make interracial marriage illegal. It opened people's eyes, and we could see people going, wait a minute. People that would pause and think twice when they saw someone that looked like them. And they would never see that from someone who looked like me. So, as I shared with Tat, you have a unique and necessary voice in this. As I shared with other friends, if you are, if you're not LGBT, but you care about the LGBT friends, this is the time in which you need to speak up. A lot of my friends who are Hispanic that are not in a situation, just like I am, not in a situation where you can get fired for speaking your mind, now more than ever, you need to speak your mind. You need to let people know who you are, that you love our country, that you care about the direction that we're going in. If you are a Democrat that's running for office and you're, frustrated because people aren't seeing you, but you are told to hide all of your pictures of when you went hunting with your family, the last season, because you might be demonized for doing that. No. Show people that you go out and that you will go hunting. But then say, I don't want an AK-47 in an 8-year-old, 12-year-old, 16-year-old hands. Right now, we need honesty. We need transparency. And I'm saying this as someone, yes, as you can see in my house and everything, I'm economically privileged. As I shared with so many people, I did absolutely zero to deserve to be right here where I am right now. And it's because of all the hard work of so many generations who came before that allowed me to have access to the finances that saved my life repeatedly from asthma, from migraines, all the times I was put into the hospitals over that time. That allowed me to move from having to walk with a cane, being able to do kickboxing, to being able to ski, to being able to dance tomorrow night, for New Year's. And it's that kind of thing that allowed me to understand what privilege entails. Money, as my father always told me, it represents energy. The energy of someone who grew all the lemons so that they could sell it to somebody else who mowed the grass so that person could make lemonade, so their daughter could make a lemonade stand, so someone else who did car washes all day could take their energy and exchange it. It's all energy. But the problem is that it doesn't really represent the real energy input and output in society. So we're in situations worldwide where it's like having a stroke when you have a blood clot, don't let the blood flow. And the finances are the blood going through everything. When we don't care about the whole and making sure there's opportunity for other people who haven't historically had access to it, then we get a clot as humanity. Some people may say that's being socialist for me to say that. No, it's just me saying we need real opportunity for democracy to work. These are real things that get to the heart. I was talking to my husband tonight. He said, why are people being so attracted to someone like Trump? And one of the things I told him, I said, because people are hearing, I see you and you matter. And as I've said to many of my minority friends, there's a whole demographic of white people that have been struggling so hard and are not heard and have been told all their lives you're privileged just by the lack of melanin you have. But no one has actually looked at the fact they're working so hard and can't get up. The minute that we were designing something to give an opportunity for access to quality high school and college education in areas in third world countries, one of the first phone calls I got was from the Appalachian Mountains, because they said, if you live here, our government says you don't exist, we don't even try and help you. When I was at the White House, I was told by no less than 4 different departments that was true. So, this is the real reality in our country. Here in Dallas, Texas, we have an area in Joplin and San Branch where they don't get running water and electricity without having to pay through the nose of taxes. This is a tragedy that occurs in one of the most powerful countries in the world. I was just in the UK, and the amount of homelessness and hungry people, and these are first world countries. And you move into places like where we've helped this past year, like in South Sudan, helping the Sudanese escape and get in there. And you realize people help them escape, but they don't invest to help them build new lives. So as we look at, what we're doing in our part of the world, and all these things I've talked about are things that I do have programs and things. I'm not here to promote those things. I'm here to promote you. I'm here to ask you to think about what really touches your heart, but really makes your gut feel strongly, but really touches in your throat when you see something on the news or a movie, and you say, God, that thing, and you feel a fire here. That, whatever that is the real you. That is you remembering your purpose in this world. And Paulo Coelho, he wrote a wonderful book called The Alchemist. I recommend it to anyone and everyone, regardless of age. You can get it if you're a 5-year-old, you can get it if you're 50 years old, 100 years old. And if you keep reading it every so many years, you'll get more and more out of it. But one of the beautiful things Paulo Coelho writes in there is he says, when you're going in the right direction, the soul of the world will rise up to you. And that's true. I have tried so many times to go against the grain, and things just won't work. But when I surrender, the amount of things that start falling into place, like the links on a necklace, the chain of pearls, they start coming together. And the world gives you puzzle pieces. And if you keep seeing a pattern in the type of pieces that come in front of you, and maybe you don't see anything for yourself to gain, but you realize that this person and this person have this thing and that thing, and you're uniquely the one to string them together, that is spirit, the universe, creator, whatever you want to call it, saying, here you go. It's yours. You recognize there's an issue. You recognize the parts are here. You recognize these people need to come together. These resources need to be linked together. And you're the one who's talking about it and seeing it, then you do it. If every one of you listening to what I'm talking about here does just that one thing, we could change the world overnight. The other thing that can help change this world overnight is looking across the aisle at somebody that is totally different. It's very easy for me as someone with brown skin to feel, well, I'll use the word reviled from someone who supports Trump or someone who's MAGA, because I'm going, oh my God, they don't even care about my human rights. They don't care that I get stopped by police to show my passport. They don't care that someone gets on the bus with a machine gun demanding only people look like me for this. They don't care about this. They don't care about that. How could they even care about me? And then I have to put a hold on it. Go, wait a minute. I am seeing only from my eyes. But if I can take the time to see through your eyes, what is it you need? What is it you're not feeling? What is it you're not hearing? I was hearing with this when I've shared with many people. When I've talked to white supremacists, I've asked them, not snarky, not making fun of them, is there a Ku Klux Klan small scholarship fund? Is there a skinhead small business loan? Okay, no. Then how are they helping you? Have they helped you? Then how can I help you? And when people see someone with my complexion asking and really caring, amazing things happen. It's much easier for a leader, fill in the blank on whoever it is, to blame them, fill in the blank on whoever them is. It's easier and lazier for us to say, it's their fault. Because if we got rid of them, everything would be fine. But the truth is, there's no them that blocks everything. Now, our perception of them can block us from finding a win-win solution. And I say this to everybody I know that follows me from all parts of the world. If you can, I'm quoting my mother on this one, if you can't find something good to say about someone else, then the problem is probably with you. I've seen horrible people that I think the worst things of. And you know what? Some of them had good looking hair. So, the point is that we as individuals, if we can encroach upon this new year, with an attitude that says, if I have the puzzle pieces presented to me, I will take it upon myself to put them together. And the other attitude being, I'm going to listen to somebody, someone that I absolutely do not agree with. And I'm going to find that thing, that common humanity. Maybe we both care about our family. Maybe we both want a roof over our head, know that we can get food to eat, know we have clean water. Maybe we both disagree on everything, but our hearts feel it when there's a homeless person in the street. Maybe we both just absolutely do not care for the same things at all, but we both love the park. Whatever it is, find the thing you share with your enemy. Now, I know that's a hard one. Find the thing you share with the person that you really despise. What is it they care about that you care about? I promise you, there is something. There's probably much more than just one thing. But if you can begin there and then step outside yourself and see out of their eyes, why do they feel this way? Use empathy as a tool to give yourself information. And when you have that information, like I've always told people, empathy does not mean agreement. It means a chance to see differently, and it's reconnaissance. It empowers you. But if you pull all these things together, surrendering to letting Spirit lead you to where you can do the most good, and paying attention to those synchronicities when they present themselves to you, and acting upon them, to going outside yourself and seeing through someone else's eyes, why do they feel the way they do, finding at least one thing that you have in common. Being able to recognize that the problem, whatever the big thing is not getting rid of a demographic, but finding a win-win with that demographic is what's going to get you past it. We can do these simple things. We can change our world. So today, as we all say, oh, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life, I'm going to work out, or we say, oh, I'm going to make $1 million this year, I'm saying, go ahead, go after all those things. But if you want to change the world, that change comes from embracing the deepest pain. Loss is a terrible thing. And when someone's going through it, it's really hard to be there with them. And one of the most painful things I ever had to tell my father is when he was in denial, he said to me, I think I'm going to beat it, Marianne. I think I'm going to beat it. And I said to him, well, if it's in your soul's agenda to beat this cancer, then you will. But if it's in your soul's agenda to go on to something so incredible and adventurous that you can't even begin to imagine, then that's what's going to happen. But either way, your soul will continue. And it was hard to tell him. And he did pass. And he went on to that incredible adventure. And now my mom's on that incredible adventure. And now my friend Anthony is, my friend Don is, and now my Uncle Jerry is on this incredible adventure. And one day I fully believe I will join them in it. But I also fully believe that my soul was plucked out of the gut. And I was told to forget certain things so that in the process of remembering them and this adventure called life on this planet that offers a perfect balance of evil and good so that we are constantly learning and exercising those spiritual muscles that are ourselves, that I'm evolving. And that's true for all of us. And as each of us evolves and raise up in, Abrahamic theology, they talk about the Shekinah and Yahweh coming together. And that only when all of humanity recognizes the presence of the divinity that is equal in each other. It's a similar concept to namaste. That the angels are reaching out to each other to embrace each other, basically in a hug, that I see the reality, the beautiful reality, that the soul in you is equal in value to my own. That's when the Shekinah resides among man. Similarly, in the Toltec philosophy, Teotihuacan, they talk about the Quetzalcoatl butterfly, Quetzalcoatl, coming down. It has the butterfly wings and feathers on it. And it's coming in and helping you to remember. That's why they have it in front of their face, to remember, to speak that way. They always do this. But the point being, and they do this because it's basically a Fibonacci sequence coming out of the mouth, because it's fractal, it goes forever. The point being that which is our memory, and it goes on forever, and it resonates like a beautiful snowflake, the heart of which is where your soul was put into. It resonates. And each one of you is resonating has resonated. It's making a huge impact just by your existence. And as we embrace this great new year, I wish for each and every one of you the greatest success, not just in the pragmatic things of life, that you get acclaim, that you get the spotlight, that you make your money, that you get the love life the way you want, all those things, the adventures you'd like to experience. But I wish for you most an opportunity to fully embrace that deepest part of you and to express it in the profound, breathtaking ways that can lift you up in this world. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful new year. I wish you the greatest successes for your mind, for your heart, for your soul, and most of all, I wish you the adventures of a lifetime that will lead you closer to becoming the most beautiful expression of what you are. Happy New Year.